right, so you've literally just jumped off stage.
Yes.
So thanks again, and I also liked the reason that you're actually on stage with us today as well, through the wonders of pocket dialing.
Yes. Yeah, that was quite interesting. I rang Jim Berry by accident at 6:45 in the morning. I was frantically trying to turn off my phone, and he answered, and he asked me, "What are you doing?" And I told him what I just finished, and he said, "Gee, that would make a wonderful case study for our conference."
Yeah.
And since I've spoken at several of these and I know what they're like, I thought this would be a really great opportunity to come and tell the story.
So you opened up with kind of a message to the audience around people grouping together cloud and on-premise, and really outlining the distinction between the two, and that they're not comparable in that sense.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a false dichotomy between something that is cloud and on the other end, on-premise, as being, cloud means off-premise, on-premise means not cloud. It's not the case. I think it can be on-premise or off-premise, and it can be cloud or not cloud. Cloud is about being able to deliver infrastructure at speed without having to think about whether or not you've, about the provisioning of that. I use this phrase, cloud provides the freedom to be remarkable. It's something I coined maybe 8 or 9, 10 years ago now, but at the end of the day, if you can achieve what you're wanting to achieve without fear of failure or fear of success, without having to worry about what the infrastructure is going to be, then that's cloud. But and that can be on-premise or off-premise.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you for that. And because I know that in those conversations people have, it's are you cloud or are you on-premise?
Yeah, exactly right.
It's just not.
And I kind of feel the vendors have pushed that, and it's, in a sense, they've confused the marketplace, and it saddens me, to be honest, because I think we've lost a really big opportunity to make a fundamental paradigm shift in the way we view infrastructure.
Yep. And having been on the vendor side, I do apologise personally for you. There's many a presentation where I can picture the slide now with cloud versus on-premise. So I apologise from the industry side of things to you. That's all right. So
that was a losing battle anyway.
So the project you undertook was, by your account, 7 companies had already tried and failed at trying to achieve it. So what I want to know is, and please give a little snippet to what that project was, but also how did you manage to see, what was the fundamental that allowed you to achieve when 7 had already failed?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, isn't it? So what it was a COBOL-based ERP system that had been developed for 30 years. Highly idiosyncratic, lots of challenges of many generations of developers working on it with not a lot of standards to follow, which was the way back in the day. I didn't actually know that had happened when I took on the project, I should say. And at first, people were not all that helpful. But when they saw that I was being very persistent, they kept helping. I think that what it really probably boils down to is, I thought, do I put on a team of 15 or 20 people and try and do this the way others would probably try and do it? And I thought, that's not going to work here. I really didn't think it was going to work. So I just I did the whole thing on my own, and it was like a 7 days a week, 16-hour-a-day thing, and I just really worked very, very hard to decode it. And I had 3 large monitors, 30-inch monitors, with huge sort of wraparound screen, so I could try to uncover what is this wall of hex. It was just a wall of hex numbers. There's billions and billions of records in many, many thousands of files, and I just had to try and figure out what's in these hex. I had to uncover it, and that just required a lot of deep thinking. I even got my daughter involved in helping me to try and process some of these records, to decode. And so I started out by looking for something like a suburb name, where, okay, I can see that this looks like some suburb name. Okay, so now go looking in the file, and where's that coming from? Okay, now I've got something as a hook, and from there I could expand it out. But I think the key to it was one person doing it. Yeah.
So the key is each business who has any of these sorts of issues needs an Alan Perkins. That's really what we've got to, right? And your daughter, obviously.
And my daughter.
So you just employ the family to come in and they'll sort all the problems out.
Yeah. So no, it was a difficult project, but it did require a lot of experience and a lot of expertise to do. And I don't think just anybody could have done it.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to say. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, so the problem in the project was hugely technical, right? Just explain that. What were there any key business commercial barriers and issues that you faced, as well as those obviously complex technical issues?
The biggest, I wouldn't say barriers. If anything, it was actually, the barriers were the opposite of barriers. They were trying to keep a lid on it, because what I did early on was I built a prototype as part of my proof of concept, and I showed a demonstration of an e-commerce web platform and I showed them their data in ways they had never seen before. And I actually had people standing up in the room and going, "Oh my God, this is so exciting." And so what happened was they kind of saw my prototype as an illustrative example. They saw that as the end product. And then people like the head of the call center, the head of BI, the head of the digital platform, all of these people started saying, "Oh, we can use this for all sorts of other purposes." And the chief commercial officer had to step in and say, "Hang on, this is for ERP data migration. Let's limit ourselves just to that." Right. And that was actually a very good call, because this could have become a monster project. And there was one, in the end we had one use case. There was for the digital platform, they were spending a lot of money on this digital platform, and they went to the COBOL team and said, "We need this particular piece of data out of it." And they responded back saying it's going to take 6 months, and we're going to need something like $1.2 million worth of hardware infrastructure to deliver that data. So they came to me in sort of desperation, and I said I should be able to give it to you in a few weeks. So, and that's because I could give them the data out of a relational database, not out of a legacy pile of hex.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. So you mentioned obviously the project scope was, take back, even though there was hugely successful areas where it could have helped, it was brought into scope again. Have there been spin-off projects on the basis of using that data, that methodology that you brought in?
Yeah, so it's now processing 700 million records every day. Okay, so that's where it's at right now. The add-on projects are really around that digital platform, where they're taking that data, and the external consultants are now using that data to feed the digital platform. That's the only one that's been scoped at this point, and I think that's a wise thing. Yeah. There's been a lot of pressure to try and add additional scope, but at the end of the day, there's a new ERP platform coming for them, and when that comes, they'll be able to
scale that out.
Yeah,
right?
to do the right thing and do it in the platform itself. I mean, my purpose is to provide a means by which they can get their data across, and also satisfy the statutory compliance of having 7 years worth of data accessible.